The City of Kimball is once again looking at a short list of finalists to take over the community's top administrative post. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News, powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, in partnership with the search firm Baker Tilly, Kimball city officials have announced Annette Brower and Patrick Davidson as the two finalists selected for interviews this weekend to fill the city administrator's position. Brower is the current city clerk and treasurer and had been previously picked to fill the vacancy, but that appointment was rejected by the city council, the makeup of which has changed since that time. Davidson has worked in Gillette, Wyoming, in municipal government the past 6 years, holding posts including city attorney and city administrator. The mayor and city council will interview both on Saturday at the Kimball Transit Center, starting with Davidson at 11 a.m. and Brower an hour later. Mayor Keith Prunty says it's his intent to have a candidate selected and approved by the end of this month. Well, Nebraska Lieutenant Governor Mike Foley has tested positive for the coronavirus. Spokesman Justin Pinkerman says Foley has mild symptoms and is self-isolating as he recovers. Pinkerman did not answer questions about when the lieutenant governor was tested or whether he has been vaccinated. Governor Pete Ricketts has been vaccinated and has urged the public to get vaccinated too, but he opposes vaccine requirements. The governor's office updated Foley's public schedule to remove all planned events for the week, including a planned stop that was slated for tomorrow in Scottsbluff. Well, coming up after the break, Bill Boyer's in with your midweek forecast. He'll have that right after this on KNEB.TV News.
At Platte Valley Bank, you don't have to be like a tortoise and carry your home on your back. They have mortgage experts that can help you finance the home that's perfect for you. Whether you're a first-time home buyer looking for your next home or simply want to refinance the home you're in, the experienced lenders at Platte Valley Bank are there to help. Contact them at pvbank.com or call and visit with one of the mortgage experts to take advantage of great rates at Platte Valley Bank.
At Elite Physical Therapy, we provide preventative and rehabilitative treatments that maximize function and promote well-being for patients of all ages. With 2 locations in Scottsbluff and Gearing, we offer the convenience of you choosing your location with the same great services no matter where you go. Stop into one of our locations today, in Scottsbluff at 214 West 27th Street or in Gearing at 10th and M Street, and see what Elite Physical Therapy can do for you. Treatment you need and care you deserve.
This is KNEB.TV weather from the KNEB Storm Center, your trusted source for weather.
Clear skies going to be noted overhead overnight with temperatures falling into the upper 20s and low 30s and winds finally dying down after, an incredibly windy day today. We'll get to that here in just a moment. We'll have a hard freeze coming up the next couple of nights, if not tonight, for sure tomorrow night. No big storms seem to be coming, though, and it will be warmer by this weekend. We hit 60 yesterday after a morning low of 33, and we piled up a record amount of precip here yesterday, 84 hundredths. That's now put us above normal for the month. Still about 3 inches below normal, though, for the year. I told you the winds were strong today. Look at some of these wind gusts out here. Incredible wind speeds. 71 mile an hour wind gust in Alliance. Wind gusts over 60 in Sidney, Kimball, Torrington, Chadron. All over 60 mile an hour winds. So same situation in Ogallala with a 61 mile an hour wind gust. Those have come down a bit. Still breezy to windy out there, but nothing like what it was earlier today. And boy, is it cold. Look at these temps. 30s and 40s across most of the area. We've got 60 down around Hastings as we zoom in closer to home. Lusk only 32 degrees, 53 in Ogallala right now. Most of the listening area and viewing area there in the 40s. And look at winds still out of the northwest, 15 to 20. We have gusts 35, 45 miles an hour. Still a 50-mile-an-hour gust near Alliance. Those winds will come down here over the next half hour or so. And look at what the winds are doing to the wind chills. 21 for a wind chill right now in Lusk. That is very cold and a sign that we did get the seasons flipped here with that storm yesterday. Getting on the bus tomorrow at 30 degrees. Not bad. On the way home, it'll be mostly cloudy and temperatures in the low 50s. Futurecast is pretty quiet overnight. We're going to have just a few high-level clouds overhead. That is about it. It is going to be mostly clear as we roll through the evening. And clouds come in towards sunrise tomorrow. Low temperatures overnight, 20s to low 30s. If you don't dip down into the mid-20s overnight, tomorrow night that is coming. So your hard freeze will be here tomorrow if you don't get it tonight. Some clouds overhead. You can see a couple of showers try to sneak across the area. That's really about it for tomorrow. And we're dealt with just partly to mostly cloudy skies off and on through the day tomorrow as well. And high temperatures tomorrow going to climb up into the 30s around Lusk. Most of us in the 40s and low 50s out there. And a slow warm-up coming, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. Precip will be very light if we get any isolated shower activity, and snow is pretty much wound down across the region. Clear and cold, widespread hard freeze overnight, lows down around 29. For tomorrow, how about partly cloudy skies with temperatures only in the low 50s? It'll be breezy at times again on Friday with highs in the low 50s. Saturday, though, we're in the low 60s. Sunday, Monday right now, we're forecasting temps in the low 70s. So a rebound into some pleasant temps there before we cool down a bit more as we get into the middle portions of next week.
Find out what convenient really means at the Western Travel Terminal. Start with our great selection of food and drinks, from for real milkshakes and fresh brewed coffee to snacks and hot food. Next, check out our beer and spirits with their everyday low prices. Finally, let us work for you with our full-service gas station and automatic truck and car wash. All this can be found at 822 South Beltline in Scottsbluff. Western Travel Terminal, your convenient shopping, restaurant, and full-service gas leader.
The Verizon family is full of frowns because they're spending too much for their unlimited data and phones, while the Viero family is all smiles because they're getting 4 lines of unlimited data with 2 free Apple iPhone SE for mom and dad and 2 free LG K31 smartphones for the kids, all for just $100 a month. They're saving so much, they're able to get Fido. Find out how you can too at Viero.com or your nearest Viero store. Viero Wireless, keeping you connected.
Why love a rain garden? Let me count the ways. Rain gardens contain and filter water runoff while recharging our underground water supply. They provide habitat for birds, bees, and beneficial insects. Native perennials give 4 seasons of color and texture, beautifying a home while increasing its value. Established gardens are low-maintenance, low-water landscape features, colorful, functional, and sustainable. Rain gardens, brought to you by Tri-City Stormwater. Our water, our responsibility.
This is KNEB.TV Ag News from the FNBO Ag Desk. FNBO, the great big small bank.
Welcome back for another episode of Monday Morning Markets. As always, we're joined by Jeff Peterson, who is the president of Heartland Farm Partners. Jeff, today some of our producers watching may be sitting in a grain elevator delivering some of that grain into town. So we want to kind of dive into that topic a little bit and talk about some of those factors to consider when hauling grain into town, specifically unsold grain. Let's start there. And what do producers need to be thinking about?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that we always want to think about when we're dealing with those unsold bushels. Is that the first of all gets to be on the discount schedules. You know, there does get to be some differences. So as you're thinking about what that bid is at your local buyer, keeping track of what they're going to charge you for moisture and also what they're going to do on any of those discount schedules is important, because maybe your best bid isn't necessarily the one with the highest price. The other thing is ultimately gets to be, you know, what are your contracting alternatives once you get to that elevator?
You mentioned discount schedules. How different do those vary from one elevator to another?
You know, early in the season, there could be some big differences. For instance, if someone needs corn really bad, you could have it to where they are just really just shrinking those bushels on the corn side. And normal shrink coming out of the fields about 1.2%. Per point of moisture, and so they might be charging 1.5%, but you'll generally see some differences on the moisture side. Everything else really doesn't come into play or change too much, and it's usually not that big a factor.
Well, Jeff, let's talk about some of the differences in terms of contracts that are available out there for unsold grain at different buyers.
You know what, you run into a full range there, because you do end up having, if you're coming at those unsold bushels, the first thing you have to kind of think about for yourself is that, what's your opinion on the market? Are you looking for somewhere so you can hold on to the bushels and try to get a higher cash price down the road, or are you looking for somewhere to get some better basis? And that really kind of opens up, what you're focusing on for those contracting alternatives. So here's what we could find. We could end up finding some buyers that just when you haul it in, you're physically going to have to sell it. And then the next thing we have after that gets to be ones where, you may want to hold on to those bushels, but they're going to charge a storage fee or delayed pricing fee that's going to amount to multiple months. So it could be 2 or 3 months. So for instance, you could have a situation where they might say, if you want to hold on to these beans, it's going to be 25 cents a bushel to get to January 1st. But then you get to some others that are probably a little bit more friendly on that, and they might just charge 5 cents a month, and they might prorate it daily. So you got to really watch there. But the other difference we run into, if you're thinking about just holding on to the bushels for a higher cash price, is that, do I want to go storage or do I want to go delayed pricing? And really for most producers, that really doesn't matter. What you should focus on there is that which one is going to be a little cheaper, and delayed pricing is a little cheaper usually. The other thing you come into play there is that ultimately, usually at delayed pricing, they're just going to bring the moistures back to the 15% on the corn and 13% on beans. But if you decide to go storage, they may actually want to take it all the way back to 14.5 on corn or 14 on corn. So they may want to go ahead and shrink it additionally. The other thing we want to think about is that if you're friendly on basis, and we are friendly on basis, we think post-harvest we're going to see basis improve. One of the other things to think about is that if you bring your bushels in and put it on a delayed pricing contract, at some point down the road, if you want to set the basis on that, will that go ahead and stop the delayed pricing charges? Most grain buyers that will do that, but it doesn't necessarily happen at all of them. So those are some of the common things that you're physically looking for on the different contracts price.
Well, let's talk about the factors influencing the commodity trade right now, Jeff. What do you see in terms of corn and soybean momentum right now?
It's really an interesting dynamic market, and I think right now we'd have to say that the market is really focused on yields. And in kind of what you've got, the situation in the Western Corn Belt, yields are probably just a little better than expected. You go over to the Eastern Corn Belt, though, they probably, because of some disease problems they had, an early dry down and lack of moisture right at the end, they probably aren't quite as good as what they're expecting. So yields are a big one. The other big item that's getting a lot of talk is China. Is China going to step in, especially in the soybean market? And are they going to buy soybeans like what they've done in the past? Because right now, when we look at the numbers, their sales so far year to date, and keep in mind that crop year started on September 1st, they're down a little over 30% compared to a year ago. And when we look at our export inspections, how quickly is stuff getting shipped out, that's down over 70% compared to a year ago. Now, we think a lot of the slower shipment is because of the problems because of Hurricane Ida that happened down at the Gulf, but everybody's kind of questioning what's going on with China in regard to their purchases of soybeans.
Certainly something to keep an eye on, Jeff. Of course, this week we've got the typical reports coming out just this afternoon, crop progress, getting up on how harvest is going, but this week we also have a WASDE coming out. Talk about if you're expecting any surprises from that report.
There is some surprises, and if there would be a surprise, we'd probably expect it on the yield side. So as we kind of walk through, in the September WASDE report, 176.3 is what the corn number was. And when we look at the Dow Jones estimates, the industry is expecting 175.9, so a little bit smaller yield on the corn side. You go over to the soybean side, though, and in the September WASDE, 50.6 was the yield. 51.1 is what the expectation is, but I think the trade is bracing for probably even a little bit higher number than that. And then when we walk on over to production, because we have to then wrestle with, okay, what does that yield do? What do the acres do? And what we're looking at there is we're actually looking at that corn production number. It's going to come down. The average guess is about 48 million bushels. Bean number comes up about 35 million, but the most important number everybody's focused on, though, is that ending stock number, that total supply minus total demand. And we look at that, it's not much of a change on corn. It would only raise the ending stocks about 13 million bushels. But the big adjustment that everyone's expecting is on the bean side, where they'd bring it up about 104 million bushels.
It's really an important report to see the reaction from Jeff. If somebody wants to follow you on Twitter or catch up with some of your daily market commentary, how can they do so?
You bet. You can just go ahead and follow me at Jeff Peterson 01.
Jeff Peterson, the president of Heartland Farm Partners, joining us here on a Monday morning as we check in with the markets inside the Nebraska Soybean Board Studio. I'm Bryce Duskett reporting.
A community is connections, friends, family, schools, teams. At Allo, we're honored to be a part of your community. As members of the community, we're committed to ensuring people stay connected to the services they need. That's why we're participating in the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. We're providing low and no-cost broadband to qualifying community members. Go to allofiber.com/EBB to learn more.
Hey, I've been hanging out here a long time outside of Panhandle Auto Group, and boy, do they have a great selection of vehicles.
And their sales team is great to work with, and you can also get your vehicle serviced and detailed too.
Welcome to Panhandle Auto. This is Sam Serta, General Sales Manager. It has been our pleasure to serve you for the past 2 years. At Panhandle Auto, we have a seat for everybody. Whether you need a vehicle for yourself, a son, or daughter, our team will go above and beyond to satisfy your needs and even your dreams. So again, thank you from Sam Serta, General Sales Manager at Panhandle Auto, for allowing us to earn your business. At Panhandle Auto,
it's time for something different.
The Evergreen Credit Card by FNBO. Earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. Every day. Everywhere. Never worry about expiring points or category restrictions. Plus, there's no annual fee. Only from the Great Big Small Bank. A bank ever ready for you to earn more, wherever life leads. Evergreen by FNBO.
Welcome back. For this week's featured Pet of the Week, we meet Mary, a 1-year-old cat that has a whole lot of love to give. Ms. Mary is a very sweet and talkative girl, and staff members say if you walk over to her, she will tell you her entire life story. She loves pets and attention as much as she likes to talk, and she is ready to start a new journey with you. Her adoption cost is $50, and that includes her spay, microchipping, and vaccinations. To meet her or any of the cats and dogs they have available for adoption, you can head on over to the Panhandle Humane Society in Scottsbluff during normal business hours. Well, coming after the break, we'll take a peek at what's happening on your midweek community calendar. We'll have that in just 90 seconds.
The Evergreen Credit Card by FNBO. Earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. Every day. Everywhere. Never worry about expiring points or category restrictions. Plus, there's no annual fee. Only from the Great Big Small Bank. A bank ever ready for you to earn more, wherever life leads. Evergreen by FNBO.
Welcome to Kelly's, home of the Valley's best selection of wine, spirits, and beer. Whether you're brand loyal to the tried and true brew or really enjoy trying something different and new, Kelly's has something for everyone. Family owned and operated and right on your way on West 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Kelly's Liquor. If you can't find it at Kelly's, it's not worth drinking.
When it comes to helping local folks with the loans and financial advice they need, we don't horse around. Our only goal is to help you and your family achieve your financial goals with the right loans and savings products. So if you want to bank with people that care about you and your financial needs, stop by or give us a call. First State Bank. We're big on you. Member FDIC. Online at fsbcentral.com.
Well, let's take a peek at what's happening on your midweek community calendar. That's a look at today's community calendar, brought to you by First State Bank, honoring those who give back. Nominate your community champion at fsbcentral.com.
Panhandle Trails Intercity Public Transit, based in Alliance, Nebraska, is the only intercity bus serving Nebraska Panhandle communities and Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Panhandle Trails operates a regularly scheduled bus service, assisting you in making connections with Greyhound bus partners, regional airports, healthcare, employment and education opportunities, shopping, family, friends, and more. Panhandle Trails serves the general public of all ages and offers accessible transportation for those with special mobility needs. Let Panhandle Trails help you make your connection. Call 308-761-8747.
If you're like me, you're willing to travel for a good steak and a great dining experience. Bobby Joe's Branding Iron in downtown Bayard has just that. Some of the Panhandle's tastiest flat iron steaks, ribeyes, and even prime rib. Pair that with a Western dining experience in our quiet dining room or fun-filled main dining area, you and your family are sure to have a great night out on the town. So if you're looking for a great new restaurant to try, you just gotta head on over to Bobby Joe's Branding Iron in Bayard, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch and dinner.
Why bank at a local community bank? When you choose a local community bank, you keep money in our local economy. That money helps support local jobs, schools, and businesses. Money that helps fund a stronger and prosperous community for us all to enjoy and live in. At Platte Valley Bank, we are here to help build and support the community we love being a part of. We believe that together, we can make great things happen. Platte Valley Bank.
And finally tonight, the Nebraska State Patrol is looking for the next group of recruits ready to serve in communities across the entire state, and the application period is now open for Camp 67. Nebraska State Troopers serve the people of Nebraska in numerous ways. Career paths include patrolling Nebraska's roadways, investigating crime throughout the state, handling a police service dog, connecting with public through education and safety programs, operating on the SWAT team, piloting with the Air Wing, negotiating during crisis situations, and many more. Camp 67 begins training in July of 2022 and concludes with a graduation of a new class of state troopers in December of 2022. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll see you here next time.